The 11th commitment is, we'll provide access to a quality education to every child in America by giving real school choice to parents. The power in the school system, just like the power in healthcare, has to go to the consumers. When power is in the hands of the consumers, and you have empowered consumers and a large number of them, that's how you take a large system and you make it less expensive and higher quality. The problem with the school systems in America, K through 12, is the paradigm, the model, is not an American model. It's a centrally controlled, autocratic model, a monopoly model. That means, in most cases, you're required to send the child to the school that the bureaucrat decides your child should go to. The bureaucrat might be a local bureaucrat. The bureaucrat might be a state bureaucrat. In some cases, it's a federal bureaucrat. This system is overwhelmed with bureaucrats. My system in New York was more overwhelmed with bureaucrats than any in the world. So I understand this probably better than anyone else. But it isn't just New York. And it isn't just local bureaucrats. It's state and federal. Here's how we're going to save American public education. We're going to take the decision-making and we're going to put it in the hands of the people who really know the children, really love the children, really care about the children more than anyone else. The parents. Why does college and university education in the United States largely work and public education look like a failure? Because college education is guided by the principle that I just told you. College education is about empowered consumers making choices. People spending their own money, people spending scholarship money, people spending loan money. But the government isn't making the choice and requiring you to go to the college they say you must go to. You're making the choice. If you're rich, you're making it with your own money. If you're middle class, you may be making it partially with your own money and partially with loans that you make. And if you're poor, you're getting scholarships to do it. But in each case, you're making the choice. You're evaluating the college. You're making sure the college is accountable. Either you are the parent or you the student. That's the model we have to have for public education. I know it's revolutionary. I know it can't be done. If we don't do it, we're not going to remain competitive. If we don't do it, we're not going to be competitive with India and China. And if we do it, we're going to outcompete them. Because when you unleash this unique thing that's American, we always prevail. And the unique thing that is American is not a big centralized bureaucracy. That comes out of a different tradition, a different philosophy, and a different background. The thing that you unleash when you go to the people and you give power to them and you give them a little more control over their own destiny, you end up with results that far exceed expectations. So the idea of choice in the hands of parents is, I believe, the only way in which we're going to get American public education to be the very, very best in the world. And we owe it to these children. I often tell this one story that explains the whole thing probably a lot faster than all the words that I can use. When I was mayor of New York City, a scholarship program was developed. It was going to reach 2,500 children in New York, 100,000 children nationally. The idea was you could get a scholarship for your child and put them in the school of your choice. They didn't have to go to the public school that the government was requiring they go to, mandating they go to. Do you know how many applications we had for the 2,500 scholarships in New York City? Do you know how many parents voted for a different and better education for their children? Do you know how many poor parents voted for this? Because we're talking about parents who would be regarded as middle class or poor, but still had to put in, I think it was $400 toward the education of their children. They had to reach really deep for that $400. We had 168,000 applications for the 2,500 scholarships. Do you see how many parents are crying out for more choice And basically the answer of the government is, we know better. We know better. We know better about the education of your child. What do you know about the education of the child? You're only a parent. Maybe even worse. Maybe the answer is, what do you know about the education of the child? You're just a poor parent. Fact is, poor parents love their children as much as rich parents, middle-class parents. I bet a lot of you, like me, came from parents that could be regarded as poor parents. They cared tremendously about the education of their children. I would not have had as good an education if my parents, particularly my mother, didn't take control of it. My mother did a much better job with my education than a government bureaucrat could do, and every American child is entitled, if they have a parent or parents who wants to take control of their education, wants to guide it, wants to make decisions about it, we should go with the judgment of that parent and not a government bureaucrat.